Hey guys, welcome to video 2 of the Behavior Intervention Training series. Thanks for coming back again. This video is how things run at 5. So we are going to go through 5 different questions about how things get going here. The first question we want to answer is, how does a family join 5? Question number 2, how does a BI join a new family's team? Number 3, how does that new team get started? And number 4, how does the learner's year unfold? Last but not least, number 5, what are your expectations as the interventionist throughout that year? So the first question is, how does a new family get started with services at 5? And that can happen a few different ways. But whatever it is, it leads to them contacting us at 5. So they may get us from the list of agencies that provide services from their social worker following a diagnosis. Sometimes another family member or another person in the community will recommend us to that family. And sometimes they just find us from doing some searching online or have seen our posts on Facebook advertising or met some of us at a fair. So whatever that initial piece is, it leads to them contacting us and we go out to meet them. So our family services manager is the first person to have contact with the family. She will go and do a 1-hour, we call it an info session with the family, and there's no obligation for them to sign on. This is free of charge. It's just about an hour where they can ask questions about what 5 is. The family services manager will explain a lot of what we do, and in general, the family just has the opportunity to suss out if we seem like the right fit for them. If they decide that in fact we are and they would like to pursue services, the same person, the family service manager, will meet with the family again, bringing a whole bunch of paperwork to get started, to get the funding in place, to sign a behavior analyst onto the team, and get some initial sort of demographic information so that that learner's share vision file can be created. After that, the behavior consultant will be put on the team and the clinical aspect will get rolling, and at the same time interventionists will be placed on the team, and getting to know the learner and the family is the next piece that goes along there. So how does a new interventionist join a family's team? So what will happen is a new family comes on board, or a family that we're already supporting has an interventionist leave their team for one reason or another. And our admin team, so generally Lisa and Maggie, will go in search of a new interventionist. So sometimes that's hiring someone brand new from online or from another referral somewhere, which is probably how you came to be here, or by reaching out to our current interventionists who are still looking to fill some slots in their weekly schedule and put together a group of people that seems like the right kind of fit for that particular individual. Maggie or Lisa will take all those interventionists over to the family's home for a group interview where the family has the opportunity to ask any kind of questions they want to get to know the interventionist. You might have the opportunity to meet the individual and play with them if they're little, or chat them up a little bit if they're a bit older, and just see how everyone gets along. Does this feel like the right sort of dynamic for a good therapeutic relationship? When you go to one of these interviews, you also have the opportunity to ask this family questions, ask about that child. We want to be respectful when we're asking these questions, and not digging too personally, as we don't know them that well yet. But you can ask, what does this person really like to do? What are your main priorities? Where will sessions be happening? And you are making sure that this feels like a good fit for you, just as much as they are checking you out and seeing if they're comfortable having you working with their child or youth. So don't be afraid to ask those questions, and make sure, because what we really want is families and interventionists coming together and really staying together for the long haul, because that consistency is what's really going to be best for the individual in the end. So the next question is, how does a new team get started at 5? So while that hiring piece and getting to know the family and group interview pieces going on over here. There's a clinical aspect that's taking shape as well. So the family services manager will have assigned a behavior analyst to the team. And while you're finding which teams you're going to be on and the family's finding staffing, they're also in communication with the behavior analyst who's going over to meet the family and just get as much intel as possible, learn everything there is to know about what's going really well for that family, what the challenges are, what the priorities are for intervention, do some assessments, really try and get to know that individual so that we as the clinician can go away and write a plan that everybody's going to follow for the next year. And that's going to include all of our goals, the teaching strategies, a history of that individual, suggestions and recommendations. And it's going to be a really comprehensive report that you, the family, and anybody else, maybe an education assistant at the school or a daycare person, will be able to read and follow and get a really good snapshot of that particular individual at this moment in time. Once that is completed, the behavior analyst will also be writing what we call teaching programs. So these are the actual skills that you're going to be working on as an interventionist. They will all be housed in a big binder along with the data sheets and what we call a weekly program matrix. We'll get to that later. So that you have something to follow, kind of like a lesson plan when you're actually in session. So once the consultant has the family service plan, oh my goodness, that was so loud, I'm sorry. Once the consultant has the family plan ready to go and has those teaching programs and data sheets ready and housed in the binder, we're ready to get started on the team. So you may at this point have already had 1 or 2 sessions where you will be doing pairing and building instructional control. Again, you're going to learn about that in another video, so don't worry. But you'll be doing that, and then the consultant's going to come in and teach you all of this new stuff. Materials will start to arrive, so you'll be able to do all of these skills with the materials designed for them, and then truly we just kind of carry on from there, and we're sort of smooth sailing for a while. Question number 4 is, how does that individual's year unfold? After everything is set up and we're moving forward, what happens from there? So they'll receive intervention on a consistent schedule, so whatever days you've signed up for, those are the days that you'll continue to go through the rest of the year. Statutory holidays we don't work on. Generally, a reminder will go out to you. You're welcome to reschedule that session with a family if you would like to make up those hours and they would like to have you in, but that's not mandatory. But we do not work on stat holidays and we do not work on Sundays. So you definitely will get 1 day off a week at a minimum. So as you're going to intervention, every maybe 6 or 8 weeks, maybe a little more frequently depending on who the individual is and their needs, the consultant is going to come in and support you. So they're going to do what we usually call an overlap. So they'll show up and they want to hear what's going really well, troubleshoot with you if you're having challenges, show you how to do the new programs. They might give you some goals to practice until their next observation with you. They're going to do a check-in with the family because they may be supporting things outside of session like toileting or sleeping or feeding habits or a picky eater, something like that. And then we just carry on like that. If we need to, if something comes up or we've had a few changes, we can have a team meeting at some point through that year, but generally speaking, things are smooth sailing. And then 1 year later, or around the individual's birthday typically, we complete that whole assessment process again. So we'll come up with a new plan and we want to see how things are going, how much progress that learner has made, and is there anything new that's a priority for the family that we really want to tackle. And I think that's it for what it looks like for the year. The last piece of this puzzle is our expectations for you within session. So what we really want you to be doing beyond applied behavior analysis and teaching this individual is making sure that the binder is staying pretty neat and tidy. All of the completed data sheets and mastered programs and data sheets can come out of the binder and be uploaded to ShareVision. There will be a folder there for you that you can upload it to. If that folder's not there, contact somebody and they can create it for you who has the permissions for that. We also want you to let us know, the behavior analyst, if something is missing and you can't run a program. So do you need data sheets? Are there materials that didn't show up that you need? Maybe we've asked mom to print out some programs and she's forgotten, or she's just not doing that for some reason, or I forgot to bring you something as a consultant that you need. But just reach out, send a quick email or a text or whatever, and make sure that we know and send us a reminder. We have very likely forgotten. It's probably our fault, but just be proactive in asking for help and asking for support and what you need, because what we don't want is, as the behavior analyst, to show up to an observation and see that a program hasn't been run for 2 months because, you know, we were just missing this one piece that could have been sent along to you, and that learner could have been working on that material. So just be proactive and tidy and sort of on top of that piece. And that is the other expectation that we have for the interventionist on the team.